Welcome to the Fishbowl with everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We're doing our LSU men's basketball preview this week, and LSU women's basketball preview as they take on UNO, New Orleans men's basketball, and Miss Valley State here. So they're gonna be taking on University of New Orleans, UNO, as LSU women take on Albany on the 29th as well here. So kind of doing these a little bit ahead of time. It's Christmas time, so we're gonna try to get all these out there so that we can give y'all the most accurate, up-to-date information that we know of and see what we got going on here. So let's kick this off here. Anyway, Juicy will be giving us some information later on in this broadcast here. So anyway, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. Let's talk RPI a little bit here because I know it's early. I know we're in December, but we're starting to get into these conference play here. So we're gonna have to see where everybody's gonna be and where you end up at. So a net ranking for LSU so far is the men's basketball is at 58. Um, you're kind of under the 64. You're kind of on the bubble a little bit right here, real quick here. So for making the tournament and stuff here, but it's still early. And the Tigers have had some pretty good wins. I would say UCF was a good win. Florida State was a good win as well. Looking at RPI's perspective here, I wish they could have took the win against SMU. They dropped that one by 10 points. That's 64 RPI for them. Net ranking on there 44. So they're looking pretty good. Now Warren Nolan is not. Um, I like it as a tool. It's one of the multiple tools that we can use to kind of see what a team's doing. But I like the way it gives like the quadrant rankings of the net quadrant rankings and stuff. So, and LSU right now they got a very weak strength of schedule at 174 so far, but that will get lower once we get into conference play here, which kicks off in January. So, two non-conference games left in this season here so far here, and that is UNO and Mississippi Valley State here. Then you got the gauntlet of the SEC basically there. So the kickoff conference play, LSU will be playing against Vanderbilt and Missouri here. So that's going to raise up their net ranking because they're 41 and 38, and then Ole Miss being right number 17 in the country right now as of this recording here. But their net ranking's 25, so they can get wins against these teams here, be very good. But be mindful here that Vandy is the home opener for conference play, and they got to go on the road for the next two. So every ranked team so far they have to play for the season, except aside from Auburn and Florida and Tennessee, look like they're going to be on the road here. I mean, at home. Those are going to be the ones on home. So they really need help there because like 1, 2, and 7 and looking like it's gonna be home and be really good games to be seen and to play here. So that's one that's gonna be very interesting to see what happens there. So hopefully the Tigers can get it get a good run, be able to position themselves a lot better here. You see Stetson, they haven't won a game yet. They're 0-10 so far this year. In like in terms of net ranking. So like we're gonna use the Division 1 teams that you played here. So I think they'll take care of business against New Orleans, and Mississippi Valley State. They're 0-9 right now, so not looking good for either one of those schools here. So far, LSU, they've been shooting pretty good from the free throw line, 14 of 18 against SMU. They shot 42% from the floor. You kind of hope that get a little bit higher. I like a 50% shooting range like they did against Stetson, 53%. But Matt McMahon's doing a pretty good job down there in Baton Rouge so far. So he's 45 right there against Florida State. Was good enough for the win, but you just hope that ends up being better here um, for LSU here. Looking at Florida Gulf Coast here, they shot 50% there. So if you're shooting 50% from the floor, it's going to be really tough to beat you here. So um, I think it's gonna be really tough what's going on there. LSU did pick up a good win against UCF. Like that was kind of early in November, about a month ago. They shot 43%. So the Tigers are shooting above about 40% every single game. They got their 43 to 45% here. And losses, LSU is definitely shooting, let's see, 42.6% so far. And where's that loss against Pittsburgh, which was early in November, like in late November, November 22nd when that happened, and they shot 37%. That's not going to win you many games. Um, so that is something that they're going to have to try to get better at here. They almost out rebounded Pitt in that game, 21 to 24. They lost that one in the rebounding here. I got out rebounded by SMU. and offensive rebounds, second chance points. There 13 got out rebounded 13-7 in that one there. LSU they would out rebound stats in 14-7. So if you can get those second chance points, that'll be beneficial to you. Even though they got out rebounded against Florida State, but Florida State didn't shoot as good as LSU did. They were shooting 38%, which is why, you know, them second chance points, offensive rebounding will be key in the game against New Orleans, which I think the Tigers are going to dominate the boards, the men's team, and I think they'll take care of business against New Orleans, and I'm pretty much 95% sure they'll end up getting a win against Mississippi Valley State here, barring some miracle that they end up like this dropping that one. But I think two more wins in a row for the Tigers men's basketball team here, and let's see what Juicy has to say about about them so far this year. But like Juicy, what do you think so far about LSU's men's basketball team so far this year?
So far, LSU men's basketball is actually they look really good this year and they're decent. Their schedule's been pretty decent so far compared to last season. Got bigger expectations for them this year. I mean, obviously they haven't played conference play yet, but you know, so far this is like the best team that Matt that that they have that he's put together so far. But I still want to wait and see. I'm not ready to commit to him. You know, you still got to get in the conference play. But so far, I've liked what I've seen out of them. I mean, they've had great balance. They've beat some pretty decent teams so far. It's something to be excited about, but it's still a long way to go, as I like to say.
So yeah, like I to continue what Juicy did, it's a long way to go here. Still very early in the season. We got like a whole nother like 3 months of basketball left here for sure. So a lot of games left to be decided here and see where you're going to put yourself in that, March Madness kind of step there once we get in the conference play. It's going to be a lot of different things going on there. So, switching it over to LSU women's basketball so far, they're coming off a win against UIC here. Um, and let's see, did they play any non-division one? I don't. Yeah, they haven't played any non-division one yet, so they're not labeled that. So 14-0, net ranking of 15, gonna be very good for them to be in the tournament there. Uh, RPI 29, strength of schedule at 156, pretty low, but once you get in into conference play, it'll change here. They got a big win against North Carolina State earlier in the season, November 27th. That's their only ranked win that they have so far here. So that is something to look forward to and kind of see when they get there. Stanford was an overtime win, and they're not ranked, which is kind of interesting to see. Um, but we'll see what happens here. Albany 9-2 here. Albany's actually a pretty good ball club this year, and they're gonna test the Tigers. That'll be a very interesting one that I'm interested in seeing when they do take the court against them there. So, I think they'll pick up the win against Albany here. It's kind of hard to bet against somebody that's undefeated so far. Then they open up play against Arkansas. Arkansas has not had a good year so far. They're 6-8 so far. Their net rankings are 153. So I think LSU women's basketball will take care of business against both those teams here. But look, as far as it is right now, I think Albany, kind of closing out the year, going to be a strong competition for them. I think they'll end up winning that one there in Baton Rouge. But then when they go on the road, take on Arkansas, I think they'll take care of their conference opener as well. Auburn gave LSU some trouble last year. That's the next game on that docket that I'm thinking here. So the South Carolina game is on the road again this year. Columbia, South Carolina, number 2 ranked team in the country. So that's the one that they're going to circle on their docket here, and it's really tough to say like, hey, this is it. This is how it's going to go. But it's kind of the way it is here. And then Juicy, what you think about LSU women's basketball team so far this year, and their what about their win last night against UIC? How do you think that was for them?
It was a great win for the team. They get some undefeated. Kim Mulkey's got a good team this year. They're cooking right now. The schedule hasn't been the toughest, but they're definitely blowing out the teams that they need to be blowing out. You know, it was a grind a little bit against Illinois, against Chicago, but they ended up getting the job done, which is really all that matters. And I know that they'll keep cooking. But once again, it's like the men's basketball team. It's conference play that's still coming up that we're gonna wait and see, but it's promised to start for sure. But Tiger fans, Tiger fans have a lot to be excited about in men and women's basketball this year. Uh, I love how it, I love how it looks. I love how Kim Mulkey's got this team together. All around though. It was a great win. Like like John Madden used to say, a team that you know, as long as the team that scores the most points is the one that's going to win the game. The old cliche.
Yeah, you know what? The biggest statistical analysis you can say, if you score more points than other team, you're gonna win the game. But that's like the old saying there, basically, what you was talking about there. But look, that's I think that's gonna be something interesting to see how they play themselves into conference play, and as they go deeper into um this year here, 14-0 so far this year. Live RPI update is 13 right now, but we're waiting for Monday to come around so we can get an actual update of where the RPI stands for the NCAA here. So right now, I got them big win against Albany. I think they got a nice little start to their conference schedule, which is, but Auburn did beat LSU last year, like I did mention before, women's. But they got to come to Baton Rouge. It's going to be probably the good and easiest part of a launch that you could think of here for a conference play to start, aside from maybe Florida coming to town. But Arkansas is a good draw for them to start the conference, or Missouri, basically. But I think having that there will give them a good advantage there. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So thank y'all for tuning in here to this episode here at the Fishbowl Radio. We hope you have a great, wonderful day or night, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. So you can follow us on Facebook, X, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok until they decide, it's gonna probably get banned, but they got the injunction thing going on. So we're gonna update all our platforms here. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful time, day or night, whatever y'all watching this at. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a great time. See y'all here next time on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.